Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're diving into a really critical digital weather forecast. Specifically, we're looking at a triune harmonic dynamics, or THD, forecast for cloud platform concentration risk in 2026. Honestly, have you ever stopped to wonder what would actually happen if the core platforms that run the internet just blinked out? It's kind of wild to think about, but we rely on so few companies to keep our entire digital world spinning. So today we're going to explore a brand new structural analysis that measures exactly how much stress those central systems are under, and more importantly, when they might actually crack.
All right, let's just run through our agenda real quick. 1. The digital domino effect. 2. The THD framework. 3. The cloud pressure index. 4. The 2026 danger window. 5. Possible scenarios. And 6. Disproving the forecast.
Section 1. The digital domino effect. Putting our digital eggs in one basket.
So think about how this builds. We've got something called hyperscaler cloud concentration. It sounds complicated, but it's really just a digital domino effect. Imagine a central provider that runs identity and access. Think of them like a single digital bouncer, checking IDs at the door for hundreds of different clubs. All those separate clubs trust that one bouncer completely. But here's the catch. If that bouncer takes a break, gets sick, or just fails at their job, nobody gets into any of the clubs. An upstream failure causes this massive downstream blackout, cascading across totally unrelated systems, just because they shared the exact same point of entry.
Section 2. The THD framework, measuring the storm.
To really predict when these dominoes might fall, we need a way to measure the storm before it hits. Researcher, inventor, and author Kevin L. Brown puts it perfectly. He says, cloud concentration becomes visible when a single platform, identity, or control plane failure exposes how much collective digital function depends on a few infrastructure nodes no one can quickly replace. It's such a profound point, right? We only ever see the true scale of the problem when it breaks, and suddenly we realize, hey, we don't have a backup plan. So, how do we measure this? Well, Kevin L. Brown uses a specific forecasting method called triune harmonic dynamics, or THD. Basically, THD tracks how much invisible pressure is building up in our tech systems. It looks at the massive weight we're putting on these systems and lines it up with the natural rhythms of how businesses operate. When you combine those two things, THD can actually predict when the network will be forced to adapt or when it's just going to break under the strain.
Section 3. Cloud Pressure Index. The current atmospheric pressure.
Right now, the THD Structural Pressure Index sits at a 65 out of 80. Yeah, that's high. In the THD framework, a score like that officially places us in a dangerous late pressure phase. The invisible weight on the entire system is already super heavy. That means we're much closer to a breaking point right now than we probably realize.
So why exactly is that pressure rising so fast? Well, it's pretty human actually. It's because convenience centralization is outrunning resilience distribution. In plain English, our natural drive for cheap, convenient efficiency means we've built a highly centralized system. It is just so much easier to use one massive provider for everything. But because of that, we haven't built enough backup plans or independent recovery paths. Essentially, convenience is winning and safety is losing.
Section 4. The 2026 danger window, tracking the storm's arrival.
All right, when is this storm actually going to hit? The THD forecast zeroes in on a very specific landing period spanning the second half of 2026. The danger window officially opens in July 2026, but the risk doesn't just stay flat. It spikes. It gets highly concentrated in August of 2026, and then it really surges again from November right through December.
We call these specific windows receiver pulse zones. You can think of them like digital hurricane seasons. But why those exact months? It's basically a perfect storm of human behavior and system limits colliding. Network stress from late summer traffic loads, major corporate updates, and strict year-end operational freezes all peak at the exact same time. The system is already under late-stage pressure, so these predictable seasonal habits add the final bit of weight that could easily trigger a breakdown.
Section 5. Possible scenarios. What happens when the storm breaks? The good news? An apocalyptic internet rupture is actually pretty unlikely, only about a 15% probability. The most likely outcome, at 35%, is forced hardening. This means companies are going to experience enough painful, visible friction that they'll literally be forced to adapt and build better backup systems. It's going to be a bumpy ride for sure, but ultimately it's going to force the tech world to finally fix its foundation.
But what does that bumpy ride actually look like for you and me? The base scenario expects a major single sign-on or SSO disruption.
Think back to our bouncer analogy. A centralized login failure could paralyze totally separate enterprise systems because they all shared that exact same access point. We'd see widespread disruption. And the craziest part? IT admins might literally be locked out of their own systems. They wouldn't be able to fix the problem because their digital keys are trapped inside the burning building.
Section 6. Disproving the forecast. The falsification parameters.
Look, any solid structural analysis has to test its own limits. Good science isn't just about making bold predictions, it's about stating exactly what would prove the hypothesis wrong. So here are the falsification parameters. The forecast is weakened if major providers proactively fix these fragile points before July 2026, or if the market suddenly diversifies. But the ultimate test is this. If we make it through December 2026 without a major concentration-driven outage or forced system hardening, this entire forecast is officially falsified. Putting a clear expiration date on a prediction like this makes it an incredibly brave and trackable piece of analysis.
Which brings us to the ultimate question for your own digital resilience as we head into this 2026 window. If your cloud goes down tomorrow, do you hold the independent keys to get back in? If the answer is no, it might just be time to start building your own backup plan before the storm actually hits. Thanks for hanging out and learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.